Hi, thank you for joining me this time to share with you practices of facilitators when planning mathematical modeling activities in an informal setting. Um, to do this, I'm going to walk us through the definition of mathematical modeling, importance of mathematical modeling, and role of teachers in teaching mathematical modeling, the purpose and importance of this study, the conceptual framework, research questions, methodology, result, discussion, and conclusion. Mathematical modeling is a process by which mathematicians develop and use mathematical tools to represent, understand, and solve real-world problems. And I highlighted two reasons why it is important to teach mathematical modeling. First, it enables students to see and make connections between life and mathematics. It also enables students to apply what they learn in mathematics to situations around them. And studies show that um, the role of teacher is significant in making students see this relationship between mathematics and real world through effective teaching. And this effective teaching requires efficient planning. Efficient planning is essential in teaching mathematical modeling, basically because of its demanding nature during implementation. This demanding implementation occurs specifically to math modeling because teaching it is more open and less predictable. So the purpose of this study is to describe the planning practices of facilitators when they prepare to facilitate modeling activities with youth in an informal settings. And the importance of this study is that it provides insight to researchers who want to understand how facilitators plan mathematical modeling activities in an informal setting. And by informal setting in this study, I refer to the modeling environment where activities are independent of the class curriculum, age, and grade. And it also provides insights to mathematics teachers who will be planning modeling activities. So for this study, I'm using Yinga's process model of planning, which involves three phases. Um, Discovering potential instructional ideas that will require further elaboration at the second stage. And at the last stage, it's how these ideas are tried out before actually going into the classroom. So for the purpose of this study, I refer to this first phase as the phase whereby facilitators discover some instructional ideas that will be used to facilitate the modeling activities. And the second stage, when these ideas are refined to suit, the nature of the youth or the students that we want to use these activities with. And the third phase, how the facilitators try these ideas out. And to do this, I'm asking three major questions. What strategies do facilitators exhibit at this first phase when they want to plan modeling activities? How do these facilitators elaborate on these potential ideas that they've discovered? And lastly, how do they evaluate these strategies? So for methodology, um, so this study is a part of a larger project focused on rural youth learning to use mathematical modeling to investigate issues in their own communities. And four facilitators for this um, modeling activities with the youth were participants for this study. And data collection, I, used the planning documents used by the facilitators, and I also conducted semi-structured interviews with them. For the data analysis, I looked through the lesson plans prepared by the facilitators, then I identified some keywords, in the lesson plan. I also organize the raw data I got from interview with these facilitators. I conducted open and axial coding, and finally, I looked for connections that link categories of codes to the three phases of Ininga process model. So the modeling activities these facilitators worked on include the cooking task, the agent-based modeling, and the mapping activity. In all these, They were used, for example, for the cooking task, the facilitators wanted the youth to use qualitative attributes in mathematical model. That is, how do the youth deal with an essential qualitative questions like determining what is best in mathematical modeling? So the results, for the first phase, I found that the strategies used by facilitators include brainstorming, they conducted ethnographic research, and at the same time, they used their knowledge and past experiences. And for example, in my data, Sarah talked about when she met with Teresa to brainstorm on how on the instructional ideas they were going to use. And for this ethnographic research, like Edward stated, so it talked about how when they went for the ethnographic research, how they met with the community members, and those members talked about the issues they have in the community, and because of that, that pushed Edward on how to use agent-based model with the youth. Um, so, for how the facilitators formulate the instructional ideas that they find, well, one way that they talk about that is that they anticipate what modelers might do. And to do this anticipation, it also involves, the facilitators meeting to anticipate what modelers would do. For example, Isabella narrated that they anticipated that the youth would be engaged, with the activity. And also they consider the kind of resource that the modelers might want to use when going through the activity. And lastly, how did they try out and assess? To do this, Sally explained how they met a week before the actual implementation with the youth. They call it the prep week, where the facilitators came together. They brainstormed again on how they would actually go through the implementation, or they discuss the instructional ideas they find, the refinement they've done to it, and how they would actually do that with the youth. So this study, in conclusion, find that facilitators build on their previous facilitating knowledge to anticipate what modelers would do. They also pay attention to modelers' interest and what they care about when engaging in problem solving. Facilitators also consider how modelers would engage with a task and think about multiple perspectives they would bring into the modeling space. Facilitators also anticipate what modelers will do and will not do on the task, and they identify where and when modelers might deviate from a better approach to solving a task. Facilitators also consider necessary resources to accomplish tasks and multiple perspectives in their approaches by brainstorming with colleagues to anticipate what modelers would do in various dimensions. And finally, they thought about questions modelers could ask uh, when youths are actually going through the activities on their own. And in conclusion, this study agrees with Monty and Cowie on how planning involves shared knowledge. That is, maybe shared knowledge among teachers, or shared knowledge among facilitators, or researchers who want to implement mathematical modeling activities in an informal setting. This study also finds that planning is a process of preparing a framework that will guide teachers' actions at the implementation with the student or with the youth. So, with this, I want to say thank you for taking your time to listen to this session, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of this conference. Thank you.